Shout out to everybody out there in the world watching this right now. You could be doing anything at all, but you're here with me, Sound from Club Ambition. Make sure to subscribe, comment on below. I don't need my headphones. This is my reaction to the Tory Lanez verdict between him and Megan Thee Stallion. Long awaited, long anticipated, years later, 2 years later, we finally have a final legal case, decision, trial, result, jury voting. And let's read it out publicly. This is one of the biggest cases, if not the biggest case in black culture, celebrity culture, in years. In a courtroom that quickly turned chaotic after a trial that seethed with tension, both cultural and personal, a Los Angeles jury on Friday found rapper Tory Lanez guilty of 3 felonies in the 2020 shooting of hip-hop star Megan Thee Stallion, which left her wounded with bullet fragments in her feet and could send him to prison for more than 20 years. So Tory Lanez was put in handcuffs and led into the jail wearing a powder pink coat with matching pants. He showed no visible reaction as the verdict was read. No visible reaction. He was straight-faced, they're saying, witnesses in the courtroom. Moments later, after the jury was escorted out, his father leapt out and began shouting, "This is wicked." Let's look at the clip from his father. Tory Lanez's father was there and went out. Everyone's going crazy. Reactions are coming out from everyone across the world, including Tory Lanez's father that was there. And this is what Tory Lanez's father said there, accusing Rock Nation.
Rock Nation, that's right. You will crumble. I am an apostle. That Rock Nation, right. To be a record today. That's that right. Rock Nation, that's right. You will crumble. I am an apostle of God. That's right. And you will know who I am. That's right.
He's accusing Rock Nation and Jay-Z of malpractice. He then pointed to 2 prosecutors in the case and yelled, "You two are evil, wicked evil, and you know exactly what you did." With considerable efforts, deputies wrestled him from the courtroom, where he continued to shout in the hallway. The jury of 7 women and 5 men deliberated for roughly a day and a half. So it took the jury a day and a half to decide that they were going to convict the 30-year-old Canadian rapper Daystar Peterson, Tory Lanez, of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, 1, having a loaded, unregistered firearm in a vehicle, 2, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence, 3. Along with the aggravating factors that jurors also found true, the counts could lead up to 22 years in prison. He can get 22 years in prison and also deported back to Canada. He's going to be sentenced January 25th, so in a month from now. So he's not going to have any Christmas with his children, any Christmas with his family. 3 young children, speaking of children, 3 young children, including Tory Lanez's son, sat in front row of the courtroom while the verdict was read. A young girl cried and was hugged by Tory Lanez's stepmother, who was also tearful before she began shouting alongside her husband. Others in the audience shouted in agreement. One woman shouted, "We love you, Tory," and was led away. Supporters of both Megan and Tory Lanez gathered outside of the courthouse for most of the 8-day trial. This was an 8-day trial. Literally in 8 days, they decided this. Crowded the courtroom. So the supporters crowded the courtroom in the hallway. The scene was tense at times, but remained mostly peaceful until the verdict was read. Members of the media and public were forced to remain in the courtroom for a few minutes after hearing while the hall was cleared. After the hearing, Megan Thee Stallion, whose legal name is Megan P., testified during the trial that Tory Lanez fired a handgun at the back of her feet and shouted for her to dance as she walked away from an SUV in which they had been riding in the Hollywood Hills in the summer of 2020. She said the two had gotten into a dispute that especially got heated when she began insulting his music. She needed surgery to remove the bullet fragments from her feet. The jury got it right, her attorney said. "I'm thankful there is justice for Megan." Tory Lanez's attorneys could not be found for comment outside the courtroom. CNN is emailing them to get further comments. The shooting set off a storm of cultural issues and arguments peaked during the trial, including the eluctness of black victims to speak to police, the protection of black women, gender politics in hip-hop, and online toxicity. In closing arguments, prosecutors emphasized the courage it took for Megan to come forward and the vitriol that the 27-year-old has faced for it. They said that she had no incentive to tell anything but the truth. After the verdict, District Attorney George Gasson praised her for coming forward. Wow. You showed incredible courage and vulnerability with your testimony despite repeated and grotesque attacks that you did not deserve. The district attorney said this to her. Wow. You faced unjust and despicable scrutiny that woman should ever face, that no woman should ever face. Tory Lanez's lawyer alleged in his closing argument that the shots were actually fired by Megan's then best friend, Kelsey Harris, in a jealous fight over Tory Lanez, who tried to stop the shooting. Attorney George Mendelsohn, my apologies, I can't pronounce the last name, argued Megan created a more sympathetic narrative by pinning the shooting on Tory Lanez. Megan P. is a liar. She lied about everything in the case from the beginning. She lied under oath here, they're saying, the lawyer. Harris denied being the shooter. Kelsey Harris denied being the shooter. Previously identified Lanez as one and only the gun. Her attorney in an email declined to comment. Tory Lanez began releasing mixtapes in 2009. Okay, this goes deeper into everything that we know. Now let's look at some of the reactions on Twitter. Too many people ridiculed Megan. They attempted to justify their bullying with the truth will come out in court. Well, the truth is out. Based on testimony and evidence, Tory Lanez has been found guilty. Will people be as loud with their apologies as they were with the belittling? When you won the prison talent show last year, but you hear Tory Lanez is coming. People are funny. A jury has convicted Tory Lanez of all 3 charges for the 2020 shooting of Megan Thee Stallion, a crazy, downright scary scene in the courtroom as his father and stepmother screamed about wicks of injustice. I did see Tory Lanez's artist, Melly. Stop texting me. This is not a celeb to me. Hollywood shit to me. Tory, to you, Daystar to me. He's Daystar to me, so she knows him on a personal level. Stop texting me. For a witness to say he saw a woman shoot first, then the male take the gun and shoot in the air, that should have been all needed to know. He took the gun from her and emptied it. He was lit, so he ain't do it. Taking out the magazine. He did it, taking out the... What? He was lit, so he ain't do it, taking out the magazine. But I stand on injustice. Unfollow me, I guess you said right there. Wow, this is actually shocking. But at the same time, it makes sense. Some people were alluding to this. And this is what the father's basically alluding to, that the jurors lied, the jury lied, and this is what actually happened. Paid a lawyer hundreds of thousands for a guilty verdict? Nah, fuck that. I have to get a refund. Benzino, I don't care. Why is Benzino reacting? Tory Lanez tweeted this month. I'm going to leave this here one more time and watch how it ages. No weapon formed against me shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against me in judgment shall be condemned. You sit and watch now, and don't ever question the God I serve again. This is my last tweet. Oh, man. Oh, man. Tory's... Now, this is a dope... not a dope, but... This is one of the saddest parts of the case. Tory's 6-year-old son started crying in front row after his grandfather was ushered out. Tory was looking at the child and patted his chest to reassure him everything's going to be okay. There's a trial. The judges did their job. The jury did his job. The lawyers did their job. And that's it. Tory is guilty. What more else is there to it? People are now going to sympathize. The father is going to be emotional because that's the family. If my son, God forbid, were to go through something like this, I would be emotional as well. So Tory Lanez's father has the right to feel emotional. And Tory Lanez's team has the right to feel that Meg Thee Stallion's team is wrong. But Meg Thee Stallion's team has the right to celebrate a victory because all counts, he's guilty in all counts. The judge ruled it guilty in all counts. Now, if they want a retrial, They can retrial. They can do whatever they want when it comes to that case, right? If they really think that, you know, Tory Lanez thinks like his father thinks, oh no, injustice was here, that we can retrial this. We can take this to court again. I'm not an expert with legal terminology, but I'm pretty sure that's what they call it, a retrial, right? Shout out to Bel Air Rose, by the way. Bel Air Rose sent us a bunch of bottles today, so I just want to show them some love. This is not an ad. They just sent us some bottles today showing us love, so I'm showing them some love back. Bel Air Rose. I don't even drink alcohol. At the end of the day, our opinions don't necessarily really matter. What matters is what's proven in court. If the court has proven that he is guilty, then unfortunately, we have to realize that he's guilty. Now, we can have our opinions, but do they really matter as much as the legal terms? No. We can allege things. We don't have no evidence. We can have assumptions. We don't have no evidence. If Tory Lanez thinks that the turnout is wrong, he can fight this. This still can be fought. They can have another case, a retrial. They can take this to court again if he has lawyers and the money for it. But this is the final results. How do you guys feel? Share your opinion. Do you think that Tory Lanez was rightfully proven guilty? Or do you think that there's more to this story? Doesn't add up? What do you guys feel? At the end of the day, I am kind of shocked that all three counts. I thought maybe one or two. I didn't think all three from what I read, what I've been watching, all of the evidence that the prosecutors said and the defendants and their statements and the jury now, I guess, decided, you know. And some people are questioning this more because there's 7 women on the jury and 5 men. They're saying it's a biased jury towards women. That's what they're saying. I'm not saying that. That's what they're saying. How do you guys feel? Megan Thee Stallion. What is Megan Thee Stallion going to do now? Are people going to support Megan Thee Stallion again? If they didn't already? Are people going to now, if you already messed with Tory Lanez, are you going to not support Tory Lanez music? Are you not going to listen to Tory Lanez music? It can be seen sad at the end of the day because he is a father, but he did what he did. He has to reap what he sowed. Unless we see more factual evidence that wasn't proven in court, then I do think that we got to just say what the lawyers and the attorneys said. They know law. These people are all professional law degree, established attorneys. There could be a possibility that Megan Thee Stallion left some evidence out. There could be a possibility that something happened and there could be a hole in this trial. But as of now, today, December 23rd, there's a guilty verdict of all 3 counts. So, I don't know. People, because you can be a conspiracy theorist, but why are you trying to be a conspiracy theorist? Now you can argue, I think, that he is guilty, but 20 years might be a long time, a good amount of time, too long of a time. He might serve, 15 of those years? With good behavior, maybe less. But it might be a lot too long of a time. It might be too long of a time. It's so weird, man. It's just very unfortunate, regardless of how you feel. You can be on Tory Lanez's side or Meg Thee Stallion's side. Regardless, is an unfortunate situation. He is in jail. And also, she had to go through this. Going through court. She had to face scrutiny. She had to face people's opinions. Everyone's opinions is going to keep on going. That's the craziest thing about this case. The fact that after there's a verdict, the things trending online are people sharing their opinion about the verdict and saying that the verdict could potentially not be true. I don't know what more we can do. We took it to court. Tory kind of alluded to it in the past. He said that his tweet is going to age good. People's opinions are going to age bad. He said that he's going to prove people wrong. But there we have it. Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion. That's my reaction. I think he's guilty. There's not much. What more can I really say? If the judge said he's guilty, he's guilty. But Kelsey, I'm still suspicious though of Kelsey. Meg Thee Stallion's best friend. I'm still suspicious of her best friend. This is crazy. And you can definitely argue that Meg Thee Stallion's legal team kind of looked like they were being sloppy. If you were reading all the reports from every day of this trial, all 8 days, there was reports of something happening. And the lawyers from Meg Thee Stallion's team kind of just seeming a bit sloppy and unorganized when it came to the witnesses, etc. So you kind of saw it maybe leaning towards Tory Lanez. I felt like people were going to be like, oh, shit, Tory Lanez might be, not fully guilty. But nonetheless, all 3 counts. Historic day. How do you guys feel? It's breaking news, fresh off the press, so I'm a bit shell-shocked a bit. Like, I don't know how to react to it fully. But there we have it. I love you guys. Be safe. Happy holidays. I'm going to go do some holiday shopping, Christmas shopping right now.
They gon' love me for my ambition.